Welcome to your Voice Your Impact show, where authentic voices spark real change and bold conversations lead to lasting impact.
That's right. This is a space where we amplify ideas, celebrate stories, and challenge mindsets, because every voice matters and every story has the power to transform.
Whether you're a dreamer, a doer, a change maker, or someone simply figuring it out, we are here for you. Each week, we bring inspiring guests, thought-provoking conversations, and powerful insights to help you own your voice and leave your impact.
I am the energetic EJ, a life and transformational coach, a podcaster, and an event host. I work with women who are accomplished to turn their success into legacy influence.
Hi, my name is Nnamdi Oboli, but many know me as Scott Unlimited. I'm a seasoned compere and orator par excellence, passionate about connecting people through words and purpose. Beyond the mic, I'm a business intelligence professional driven by insight, strategy, and impact.
My name is Grace So Amazing. I am an integrative life coach. I help my clients align their psychological, social, and physical well-being. I am the founder of Friends Lean On Global Foundation, a non-governmental organization that is centered on educating people about mental and emotional well-being. Like,
subscribe,
and share. Welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're watching from today, depending on your time zone. My name is Olawale Afolabi, as you know me, Scott Unlimited, and it is, of course, the first time you'll be seeing my face on the show this year. So let me officially say Happy New Year from my end. And once again, it is a pleasure. I am so delighted and happy to be here today. So you might be wondering, where are my village people, the loves of my life, Grace So Amazing and EJ the Energetic. Of course, like for the first quarter of this year, we are we are taking the show through a different route, whereby for each week you will be having you will be having one of us, and then at the end of the month you will be having all of us together to be here with you. So today we will be talking about a very interesting topic, and I'm so excited to be here with you. The topic we'll be talking about is relationships as a catalyst for growth, and the person with whom our guest for today, in fact, I am. At the mention of his name alone, I feel so. It's such a beautiful feeling. It's such a beautiful feeling that he has chosen to be here on the show with us today. And a brief introduction about him. I'm sure many of you have seen the flyer, so you definitely know what I'm talking about. But before I go further, let me know if I am audible and if you can hear me clearly and you can see me. So if you're here with me, can I get a thumbs up and just wave your hand in the comment section so that I know that my audio, my setup is correct and nothing is going wrong anywhere. We are excited. Okay, thank you. I see the comments coming in. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so let me introduce you to our amazing guest for today. This person is definitely someone you already know. He is an optometrist. He's a Nigerian optometrist. He's an entrepreneur. He's a film producer. He's an author, and at the same time a relationship coach. He's a father as well, which is very important for you to take note of, considering the kind of conversation we'll be having today. He's a father as well, and he has over 2 decades of lived experiences, navigating marriage, family, and personal growth. And today we'll be talking to us about relationships as a catalyst for growth. And the person I'm talking about is no other but the one of the, as a matter of fact, before I even mention his name, personally, I want to say a huge thank you to him before I bring him on, because I know he's a very busy person, but he has still made up time to come on our show today to lend his voice for impact. So with all the excitement in me, as the same way with you, please welcome on the show Mr. Omoni, Mr. Nnamdi Oboli, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me.
You're also welcome. You're so welcome, Mr. Oboli. Thank you. So I know you're a very busy person, and on top of that, the time over there in Canada is a bit early. Like I was checking, is around 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. thereabout.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Wow.
Thank God. Yes.
Despite all that, you still made it to be here today. So without taking too much of the time, I would like to start by us getting to, of course, majority of us know you, sir, but I'd still like us to get to know you from your own, let us hear from the horse's mouth. Can we get to meet you, sir?
Yes, my name is Nnamdi Oboli, as you guys already know. I practiced optometry for several years, and also became a business analyst, and also now I've always been a marriage coach, kind of, for a while. That's been a long time, and at the time I now decided to write a book about it, which is my very first book, which was Marriage for Better for Us. And the reason was that to understand marriage from a perspective of how it was made for us rather than against us. And it's also a slogan that my mom had always been saying from when I was a child, that look, marriage for better for us. Every time she always said that. So I was kind of stuck to my head. And so I tried to see it from that perspective. And I've helped many couples as well to understand better their marriage, to have a more fulfilling marital life, and to have a clearer perspective from it, especially from a biblical perspective, because that's where I always come from. Everybody has a worldview that informs their opinion or their outlook on things, and mine is purely a biblical perspective on all of that. So yes, I'm grateful to be here to share my experience as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And I think one thing for me I know is that people who are deeply rooted in God, in the Bible, the level of wisdom that comes with them, and just like you mentioned, and by the way, from the amount of value I've personally derived from the kind of content you put out, and from the kind of impact your contents are making, because I see other people's comments as well. I see how much value everyone is deriving from that. I guess it further explains why you are so loaded with a lot of wisdom in when it comes to marriage. I see the kind, and it also goes further beyond just marriage, in fact, because when you learn these things, because I like one of your videos that I posted yesterday where you were talking about humility, and there are several other videos that touches on different aspects of our lives as well. However, to bring in my first question, I would like to ask, so today we're talking about relationships as a catalyst for growth. Now, the first question I would like us to, because I know, just like you mentioned, majority of the content you put about is about marriage and all. So the moment people saw the topic, they already thought, oh, relationships. So definitely they'll be talking about purely romantic relationships. However, I would like us to I would like people to know that relationships is not just the romantic relationships alone. There are different kinds of relationships that are very important for our lives as a person. So, Sarah, I'd like you to mention, I would like you to tell us about the kind of relationship that one should have and how they are actually, catalysts for our growth.
Oh, thank you very much. First and foremost, what was the design for marriage right from the start? I mean, we're talking about relationship as a catalyst for growth. And in relationship, is where growth really happens the most. It's the fastest kind of growth you can have for a man or for a woman. And it's also a safety net in that regard. It's not isolation, it's growth. It doesn't mean isolation in its part. It happens in relationships. It's by design. It's what God has already ordained for us as a couple. So that when we get into a relationship, what we're doing is trying to understand, first and foremost, what was the intention of marriage? Why did God institute it? Why was it necessary to have the man and the woman? Remember, man was created. It's funny that every other day of the week that everything was created, God was constantly saying, and God saw it was good. And God saw it was good. But when it came to the time of man, he created the animals and said, saw it was good. Then created man, then waited. Then he created woman. And then brought it to the woman because he had seen no companion. Remember, before then, what did Adam have? Adam had purpose. He had everything he had. He had a garden. He had everything, all prepared by God, not by him. All prepared by God. His own work was just to tend it. But it was not enough for him to be fulfilling. It was not enough for him to thrive. It was until the woman came that the command for be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. And that subjection of the world under them, the authority of man, was based on the fact that they had a companion that they could replicate that over time. And it becomes the incubator where man and woman can thrive and also be able to flourish in every single assignment that God had already ordained for them to do. So the assignment was to subdue the earth, to be fruitful, to multiply and subdue the earth. Like you said rightly, it's not just in the context of romantic relationship, which is good, because the first thing was, it's not good that man should be alone. Loneliness was the first thing, but also the fact that they had a common assignment that is complementary. So man has his strength, the women have their own strength that they bring into that relationship to help it thrive. No wonder statistically, married couples do better than the average single person, which is irrefutable in that sense. And the reason is because they are both having that constant advisory board. Let me just put it like that. Imagine having your own advisory board every single day. You want to take a decision. You're not just taking it on your own, willy-nilly and all that. You're taking it with counsel constantly, while the one that is single has to take that decision on their own until they can bring someone in. So marriage is a very, very strong institution for all of that. The problem with today is the way they kind of defined it. They've defined it in a way that it looks as if I have to go and, first of all, get everything I want and then slap marriage at the end of it. While marriage itself is the instrument that you need to actually thrive. So we want a wife after we've established everything. We want a husband after we've gone through all our degrees and our programs and stood on our own, because we don't want to be useless to the man or something like that. That's the perception. But actually, the growth itself is what informs, the marriage itself is what informs the growth that we're having. So I don't know if there's any, that one is, let me just start from there and then we can move from there.
Well, that's actually deep, because many of us who are watching, even myself, I'm a single man, and I genuinely have lived a large part of my life with this same mindset that, man, it's almost impossible to have a successful marriage when you yourself, you're not standing yet. You have to, just like in your words, they want to achieve everything first before they now slap marriage to it. However, yeah, we will. So I feel like for today, we would want to, like, if we could look at, what if we could look at relationship holistically? Like, okay, yes, because before you even get to, one of the reasons why you probably would have this kind of mindset that we have, or also lean towards today's definition of marriage, it still boils down to who you are, and or perhaps the kind of relationships you've had through the journey of your life before you actually become an adult, before you get to the age of marriage. So from the beginning of our lives, like for example, as teenagers up to when we become an actual adult, we still have relationships in there, like professional relationships, friendships and all that. So how would you say, is it who we are ourselves that ends up defining the kind of relationships we have and the success we have in our relationships, both personal relationships, the professional relationships, and then marriage? Or are there other factors to it?
Yes. Like what I said, first of all, is rooted in the creation order. So we're told by the world right now, the way we think, independent thinking, that individuality thing, that sufficiency is strength and needing others is weakness. So I need to be strong on my own. I don't need somebody else to help me become strong. It's when I have got the strength that I now bring someone as a benefactor of someone who benefits from my own success. That's not how it was designed. So your relationships outside with everybody else is also kind of predicated on the human relationship you have within the home. In other words, nobody comes in isolation. Every single human being comes from a home, and that home has a culture and a worldview that informs that home. And that is what you're going to take into the world. That's what you're going to take into your own marriage and every other thing. And it's how you perceive it that you're going to give. You're not going to give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't know. It's not possible. When God said to Abraham, look, I'm going to give you all this land, but you didn't just say, I'm going to give to you all this land. For you to perceive it, he said, walk through the land so you can see it, because seeing it helps to inform you better on how to actually carry it out. And it also drives the hunger, because something you have seen is easier to do. You know, for a long time, the world couldn't break the 4-minute mile. For someone to run under 4 minutes, to run a mile in 4 minutes. So suddenly somebody did it. And as soon as someone did it, everybody started doing it. Why? Because they had seen it happen. Before then, it seemed like an impossible task. And so Adam had meaningful work. He had authority, he had direct access to God and intellectual capacity, the kind of capacity that he was able to name all the animals. So he had everything that he had. Still, something was missing. God said, no, it's not good that man should be alone. So capacity without relationship does not produce fullness in itself. Growth requires resistance, accountability, and shared responsibility. And that's why marriage actually informs better when it comes to relationships. Sorry, your mic is muted.
Excuse me. Thank you for sharing that. I would like to now go a bit deeper into marriage itself, because definitely it's a bit it's a huge topic nowadays when it comes to marriage. Like it's almost now no news anymore when you hear, oh, so marriage has crashed, so marriage has crashed, you know. And even statistically, divorce at an all-time high. Now, this is a new year. Many of us are, you know, looking forward to a new year. Like, okay, this year is going to be my year. I'm going to probably, you know, so many people have it written down as part of their goals that, okay, 2026 is going to be my year. I'm finally going to be a bride, or I'm going to be, you know, a husband, things like that. However, I don't feel like the amount of information and knowledge we have is profound enough about marriage. I feel like the narrative is already completely twisted, and majority of people are not going into it with clear understanding of what it means. Now, so far we've talked about how God himself ordained marriage from the beginning when he created Adam. So how now, for you as someone who has coached a lot of couples who have, you know, you're an author as well, you have a book that also touches on this. What are the things you've seen so far that you feel is causing people, one, to not, that is ruining the narrative, the definition of marriage, two, that is also causing the whole institution to seem like it's crumbling much more than ever? Could you please share some light on that for us? Your mic is
Yes,
muted.
yes. Okay. So marriage is a very simple process because it was instituted by God. Now, God, in his infinite wisdom, has simplified everything. It takes a lot of pride to want something more. In other words, he has made the bar so low, either in salvation or in marriage, so that anybody who can just look at it plainly without having to add every other filters into it can see it for what it has, the value it brings into the relationship. The problem is that human beings want more. Everything has to be extra. We want to complicate things. How can it be that simple? No, let's sprinkle a little complication here so that we can help ourselves. It's between two people. So what they do is that they bring their drama, they bring their baggage from the world, from the way they've been trained, from their families, from everything, and they all mix it into that soup called marriage. And then it becomes tasteless. It becomes something that is horrible for many people. The mindset that goes into marriage is what you're going to get out of it. If you feel that if you're apprehensive about marriage, that's exactly what you're going to get. Because you can't, when you like something, you enjoy it. You go for it, you pay for it. I mean, people travel from here, from all over the world to go and watch the Premier League. They want to watch everything. They want to be a part of it. They want to buy the jerseys. Why? Because they love it. So they're invested into that. The same attitude must be there for marriage for it to function. Marriage is a beautiful institution, but so many people go into it with ulterior motives, not even necessarily ulterior motives. Because some people just go into it unwittingly based on the baggage that they're carrying, and they don't even know the baggage they're carrying. That's why counseling and coaching is so important, because then you can be able to filter all the noise out and begin to see the union as what it is, sacred, something that's been instituted by God. It's not for it's not to punish you. It is given for your own advancement in life. So marriages are failing everywhere. And surprisingly, there's a statistics that also goes that one of the worst nations when it comes to marriage failure outside their own culture is Nigeria. So they have a high divorce rate outside Nigeria. That's a startling thing, because basically what it means is that there's something in our culture that only marriage within the context of the Nigerian culture itself only functions in that atmosphere, in that environment. That's not good. It means that fundamentally there's something wrong with the way we perceive marriage or the way we execute it. So many people, I understand when they're apprehensive, because many people, statistics informs their opinion rather than going to the source itself. So it's kind of, I want to purchase a car. I don't go to the manufacturers. I don't do proper due diligence. Instead, I'm asking people around alone. And they may have had bad experiences, but their bad experiences may not necessarily be because of the car. It may be because they've seen somebody else that has used the car and it didn't work, but they didn't ask how did the person maintain the car. Maybe the person was maintaining the car poorly, so they didn't function very well. So instead of asking all those nitty-gritty things that help to flesh it out and give you a proper context to why they say something is bad, people just say, I don't like it. I may go to a place like a supermarket and I just don't like the way they responded to me. But maybe I was actually a nasty person and I wanted good response. So, but when I meet someone that said, don't go into that store, that place is nasty, they're horrible, you always have to go beyond what people just say. It's good to have multitude of counselors, but the safety net is that no matter who you're having as your coach or your counselor or anything that you're doing, there must be a standard in which you are being able to evaluate it. So if you tell me something is wrong, I have to ask, by what standard? Because, I mean, it may be nice to other people, but it's not nice to you. Why? I have to know all of these things. So asking the right question is very key before you get into a relationship. Understanding the nature of the union itself, what was it meant for in the first place, means that you have to go back to the source. And the source is the one that will tell you, okay, this is what marriage is designed for. So if I'm deviating, I know why I'm deviating. I know when I'm deviating. Then I also know how to get it back. Because if I don't know the source, then everybody's opinion is there. As the Bible says, there was no king in Israel and everybody did what was right in their own eyes. So everybody has an idea, oh, this is what marriage relationship should be. But there is actually a standard. There's actually a book that tells you every single thing that you need to know about it. And so the problem is, I went into marriage, for instance. I went to marriage because I wanted to have a good marital life. every decision I made, every action I took was informed by the fact that I want joy in my home. I want peace in my home. I want to enjoy my wife. I want, these are things. The Bible says, be enraptured with her love. That means it's a decision that you make by yourself. It's not something that makes it for you. You're not forced. It's not a shotgun wedding where if you don't marry, you will die. It's a case of I want to enjoy my marriage. And because I want to enjoy my marriage, my decisions must be made towards that. That means I'm going to look out for the best interest of the person I am getting married to. My job is not to find out what the other person is doing to be able to get to do their own part. The only part I know is my own. That's the only part I can control. Any other thing I'm trying to do is witchcraft. I might as well just buy a doll and start putting pin and telling them to act in a certain way. So marriage is enjoyable. And in the context of having a successful life, when you are working, knowing that you have to take care of a family, is different from when you are working and you have nobody to care about. You can sleep in a friend's house and you don't care. But when you have to pay the rent, you have to foot the bills, when you have to do so many things, you have a different mindset. You're far more innovative in that sense to do it, unless you come from a home that already gives you that natural drive for it. So yeah, marriage works, but the attitude you bring into it, it's in most cases what carries you far in it, what makes you see it as what it should be. And then there's also an inbuilt responsibility as a person that you must understand that I've taken my vows. I am responsible for my own vows. I made it before God. I didn't just, it wasn't a conditional vow. It was a covenant, not a contract. Contracts can be broken. Contracts are conditioned. But covenant is that I am going to do this. This is how I'm going to stick to it. And if you have that attitude, you're already, in fact, you've done 80% of the work if you understand that responsibility that comes with it. Because every other thing can be managed when you know that I have a responsibility towards this person. So marriage is fun. Marriage is great. Marriage is simple. It's people that are complicated. And when you understand that you're going to meet a complicated person and they are trying to complicate your life, either willfully or unwittingly, then you begin to act differently because you can't control what they do. But your attitude towards that person may even draw out the good in them based on how you act towards them. Because you also have to take your own part responsibly and understand that it's what you do that determines how bad or how good the other one is going to act and react to you, and your marriage is going to turn out. So yeah, marriage is good. It helps you to thrive in everything in life, but you have to have the right understanding and attitude to it for it to happen to you like that.
Well, that is very informative and enlightening, because unlike what a lot of us, as a matter of fact, I know a lot of people who have on their own, they have made a decision to say, you know what, I'm not getting married because it's complicated. But now today, they could be watching us today, and then now they know that actually marriage in itself is not a complicated institution. It's not a difficult institution. It is the mindset with which people go into it with that makes it now complicated and difficult. So before we go further, I'd like to take one of the questions that we have from our viewers. EJ the Energetic is asking, so what if I am not a Christian? Does it mean I cannot understand the concept of marriage? So how would you respond to this? So for those that are...
That's a good question, actually, because here's the thing. As a Christian, first and foremost, we believe that there are no neutral viewpoints. That means everybody comes with a viewpoint that they don't know, either wittingly or unwittingly. Like I said, everybody comes with a bias. Everybody has a bias. There's no neutrality. If you feel there's a neutral point, well, sorry. It's called the pretended neutrality fallacy. Everybody has a worldview. So if you have an atheistic worldview, or you have another world religion or something like that, the question is that it becomes your standard of what it is, but it does not define relationship, because marriage was ordained by God and there is God. And the issue is you are either going to do it unwittingly, unconsciously, or you're going to do it consciously, acknowledging him. The principles that work with the Christian marriage also work with the non-Christian marriage. If you do not have and show respect for your spouse and to love them right, you are not going to come out of it well, because it's a selfish kind of relationship. So God ordained it. It affects all of humanity, regardless of whether you believe in him or not. If you're going to have a successful marriage, there are principles that must work. Whether you're a Christian or not, gravity works. And who ordained it? It's God. Whether if you hate someone so much and you act towards them with hatred, that's exactly what you're going to pull into your life. You're not going to hate someone into having a loving relationship. It's not possible. So the principles are still the same. I'm just open and straightforward with my own biases and say, look, this is where I'm coming from. This is my disclaimer. I come from a biblical worldview. Everybody else comes from their own worldview. Some people do not recognize their own worldview. That's different. But they do have it. Anybody that says, no, I'm just, let's just be fair, has put himself a judge over every other worldview. That becomes a worldview in and of itself. So yes, I have a biblical worldview and understanding from that principle. I've seen it work across board. Whether you're a Christian or not, it's the same principle that applies. If someone comes with a secular humanistic worldview, it's still using a secular humanistic worldview to be able to fix your marriages. If they're going to counsel you, they're going to counsel you based on that worldview. And the same question can be thrown at them. What if I am not a secular person? Can I not have and understand marriage? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's that the principle works any other way itself. But here's the thing. God is the God of all creation. And if it is he that ordained marriage and gave us the criteria for marriage, the question is, does it work in the other context? Like if you use the other gods or you use the other a non-deistic world where there's no God, then how do you account for the ought? That is what people ought to do. How do you place a standard? Because then everybody's saying, look, you see, my worldview is different from your own. Yours is different from my own. And mine says destroy marriage. The other one says fix marriage. How do you fix the two of them? By what standard do you say this is good and this is bad? So any form of preferences already assumes moral order. Also assumes a moral hierarchy. And the question is, which moral disposition do you have? Who is actually drawing your morals? Because morals have always been based on, some people will say, oh, it's based on what the society agrees. But yeah, but what if all the society agrees that, for instance, everybody should be, a certain group of people should be slaves, and they make it a law, while others can be free? Is it morally good? Can we judge them to be wrong based on a higher context? Or would you say, oh, the society has already agreed on their own, therefore slavery is good? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you have to understand it from, there must be an overriding objective transcendent standard that defines everything else, or else, man, everybody goes and everybody does what is right in their own eyes.
Right, love it. With the comment still goes further to say the God ordained principle stands and applies to everyone. Thank you so much for that brilliant answer. Of course, it's Mr. Oboli. What do you expect? All right, all right. So moving forward, I would like to. There's a very burning question in my heart that I would like to ask you, sir. Now, marriage and money. In today's world, majority of literally everyone is definitely looking for growth. Even more importantly, it's the beginning of the year. One of the things in every area, personal development and all that, one of the things most people are looking forward to is either scaling their business, or which maybe growing in their careers, different things like that, somehow relating to finances. Now, how does marriage help you? And just like you said before, let me take us back a little bit. You said it's not right to, first of all, achieve everything and then slap marriage at the end of it. But then we believe marriage is expensive, right? But my question actually would be that how does marriage / relationships that we have, how does it impact our financial growth? And how can we be, basically, how can marriage and our relationships help in getting better financially?
Oh, yes, I hear the questions, but there's a lot of assumptions inside there in the question itself. One, it assumes that because I'm married, therefore I'm going to spend more money. That's not true. I spent less money married than when I got married. Far less, because I had to eat out every day to work. I didn't have time to start cooking. I wasn't a good cook anyway. I couldn't cook to save my life. But the thing is that we pitch our resources that where I falter, she's strong. Where she falters, I'm strong. Those are the things that bring us. So we're bringing a kind of complementary nature into building the home so that I'm having somebody along to take. They said, the Bible says that one can chase 1,000, but two will chase 10,000. The exponential effect of being married is far better. Finances do not keep marriages. If it did, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates will still be married to their wives, obviously. So money has never been a factor. We're just lying to ourselves, thinking that money is a factor. No, we're using it as an excuse because we're enjoying the benefits of a relationship, a marriage, without the responsibility that comes with it. Yeah, if you're having sex, I mean, why should I buy the car when I'm getting the milk for free? It doesn't make any sense. So the issue is we're not taking the responsibility because we're not considering God in all of this. So when you get married, understand this, your finances will be tested. They will be brought to order because you have to take care of somebody. So instead of you going to the nightclubs and just throwing money all around and just at the whim, anybody can ask you for money and you can just say, okay, yeah, I'll give you that kind of thing. You are considering, I have a wife, so I have to be a good steward of money because I have someone to take care of. I have children I have to raise. I have all of these things. The expenses that we're talking about, they are artificial. They have been manufactured by the world and the systems to tell us that we do not need anything. If you cannot send your children to school, homeschool them. Find out how to homeschool a child. It's never been a factor of, oh, everything is expensive or this and that. No, because you're still trying to conform to a standard the world has already set. They are the ones setting the pace. So, and especially for Christians, whereby instead of being the head, they have become the tail. They're tailing behind every culture that comes and defining their relationship based on a secular worldview. And we have to be careful about defining marriages from a perspective of, I cannot provide, therefore there's no marriage. No, how about God has given provision because Adam did not provide the work or the resources. God did. He provided the garden, did everything, set everything, and said, Adam, go and work it, but I'll bring you someone to help you. So the women are supposed to come in as helpers, not as the help. The problem is we're looking at women many times as, okay, I have to make all the money so I can package myself so I can help a woman to become my wife. That's the assumed, without saying it, worldview behind our decisions to say, let me go and hustle so I can make money to take care of a woman. No, the woman is also there to take care of you. She's your helper. What does a helper do? They take care of things. So if you have the wrong attitude towards money, the wrong attitude towards being a provider, God is our provider. The man is a provider insofar as he's the decision maker in the home, trying to make sure that everything is doing well. And sometimes he recognizes he's a poor decision maker. And he says, okay, my wife seems to make better decisions than I do. As the leader, as the head of the home, he has to step down from that role of being the only provider and say, okay, you can do it better. Why is he doing it? Because he's managing the home rightly. He has resources in his hand. Imagine you are there hustling on your own every day. You're thinking, what should I do? Compared to the one who is sitting down with a wife and saying, what should we do? Two heads are always better than one. So marriage is not a hindrance to finances. It's actually something that enhances it. That's why statistically, this is clear, two-parent homes or two people in a home make far more money than the average single home. That is a statistical fact. And that doesn't come in isolation. It comes because marriage always helps. They said the surefire way to actually, one of the surefire ways of being successful in life is that you are married. Everywhere in the world. Especially in the Western world, for instance, to get mortgage for your home, to get loans and all that comes from the two working people in a home. It enhances it. It does not diminish it at all. And sometimes people kind of read everything into it and they define it by what the world says. How about what the word says? And the word says, no, the two shall become one. There's a joy in it. They said, a man, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That favor is not coming because you are single. It's coming because you're actually in a union, because you found a wife, not somebody who you are trying to help out of life. And women should not reduce themselves to that point of, oh, man, the man, what is he going to bring to the table to help me? How about what we are going to contribute? to bring to the table for the world to see how two of us can thrive because we put our two heads together. So that's how I look at finances.
This is completely changing a lot of narrative and understanding for me as well, and I'm sure it goes the same for the people who are watching us today, because the conversation of marriage and money is one that goes on and on and on. But just within few minutes, you've been able to dissect it and put it in a proper order, such that the understanding, the understanding of how it should be viewed, both in the biblical and realistic ways, is now even more, more obvious to all of us. Now, moving forward, my next question would be still on the subject of marriage and growth. Now, it's as we go into the year, if someone wants to be better, both as themselves and in their relationships, what are the key things, key steps, tools, or movements that they should take to actually achieve that going into the year?
Yeah, the first thing is to understand yourself better. I mean, if you don't have a wife yet or you don't have a husband yet, do a proper introspection. Look at yourself. Who am I? What am I? What do I have that I'm going to bring to a union or a relationship and all? There's nothing wrong with thinking about it, because they said he who finds a wife finds a good thing. In other words, to find someone means you're looking for it. They didn't say who a wife jumps on finds a good thing. No, he's searching. There's a search that comes with it. The problem is that we're not searching. We want it to happen to us. We want someone to bump into us. But the period of searching, or the period of doing your own due diligence in life, improve yourself in every way. By all means, still pursue the money. Doesn't mean that you slow down from money and then you move forward. No, it means that you're pursuing something, but at the same time, do not neglect those fine tuning of your life, knowing that you're going somewhere. You want to give it to someone, so you don't wake up one day and wonder, why am I alone at 50? Why am I alone at 60? And now I want to take a wife. Like there was some billionaire or a very wealthy man that wanted a heir to his throne. He wanted a son and all that, so he was willing to pay any woman who was ready to have his child for him. That's not the way God ordered it. We're not supposed to have children just for the sake of having children. There's a reason why marriage is the incubator that births a child, so that we can have a child that we can take care of in the fear and admonition of the Lord, in such a way that when they to go out, they're not coming out with the skewed idea of what marriage is, and then taking it to go and meet somebody else with their own damaged understanding of marriage. And then the cycle repeats itself. That's not how it's supposed to be done. So prepare yourself. Understand who you are. What is your purpose in life? Yes, you can search for your purpose all day. It's good in and of itself if you can find it. But first, deal with those small responsible acts that comes with taking your vows responsibly, understanding the nature of a vow, understanding what kind of a person you are that would break that vow. All of those things help so that you don't meet somebody and then you bring your bad self and expecting that they will be the ones to fix it. No, marriage doesn't fix you. Marriage orders you, but it can order the bad part of you, or it can order something you've already recognized as well as something that you've already prepared yourself all through. So fix yourself, understand who you are, so that when you're coming into that relationship, it helps you to choose the right partner better. So you're not choosing it based on what people would say, because there's so many people who want to choose a wife because, man, my friends are going to look at me and say, man, that correct babe that you brought. Or the girls will be like, man, you caught a big fish. This man, he will take care of all your needs. There's no value in that. There's value in the fact that you can exchange, because sometimes the way people talk about finances and how you do yourself and career and all that is as if the Bible forbids poor people from getting married. There's no such thing. Poor people should also get married, because for the same reason, for companionship, to procreate, and to glorify God. Those are the three reasons that we do these things, to subdue the earth. So if we look at ourselves and start thinking, I'm about to get married or I'm not yet married, what would you need to do? You prepare yourself. You don't wait for the time of war to start learning how to fight with a gun. You learn how to use the weapon before then. So when the war comes, then you know how to use it and apply it. So who are you before the wife comes in? Who are you before the husband has chosen you? Those are the things that you are now constantly building up continually. And then by the time you now know who you are ready to present yourself in any situation, knowing you know who to get rid of and who to accept into your space. So you don't deal with time wasters. And you don't have to diminish yourself or demean yourself in such a way that you now end up with the wrong crowd, with the wrong person for marriage. So checking yourself, aligning yourself, building yourself, that helps a lot during your single phases.
That is, yes, I relate to that. One interesting thing is, before we chose this topic, relationships as a catalyst for growth, the initial topic we were going to choose for today's episode was something relating to personal identity. Because I was telling the team, I said, you know what, Mr. Oboli is someone who is really vast, and I would want him to help I want for us to talk about personal identity, such that who you are. There's a saying, in fact, that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are, right? Personal identity plays a role on everything. Whatever you aim to achieve, whatever you aim to be, it still falls within who you are, how you see yourself and how you know yourself. And now you've even helped us to further establish it that, look, if you want your relationships, your marriage to be a catalyst for your growth, it still again goes back to you putting in the work into knowing who you are even before you go into it, because that's how now you are able to play. You're well prepared, and preparation, of course, is what would eventually help you to get the success you want in your marriage. Now, thank you so much for sharing that. My next question would be to ask you this one. Now, how would you say that nowadays, from your own personal angle, over your journey, because you have over 2 decades of not experience, lived experience in marriage itself. What were the mistakes you made earlier in your journey that has now even helped you to, dig deeper into becoming this wise person and knowledgeable person that you are when it comes to this whole personal identity and marriage subject? Could you share that with us?
Yeah, well, I'm not perfect, so I've not been the best husband all the time, and so those are things that you learn from, and then you don't want to. If you really care about people, you don't want them to repeat the mistakes that you made as well. So there are many. I'll say for me, how will I put it? I wasn't prepared for everything concerning marriage. I went into it, okay, I'm going to do it because, hey, I realized something that was very, very necessary in the course of my relationship and all that, because I got married quite quickly. I met my wife 2 weeks later, I proposed, and then about 3 months later, we got married. So, and now this is the 26th year of our marriage. And then I'm also a grandfather now. So if we look at it that way, then the mistakes and things that you will definitely have, even after I tell you what to do, you will still jump into it and make the same mistakes. It's all part of the growth. One, it also humbles you. If you can make that much of a mistake, then the question is, understand that you are not the standard. God is the standard. And I had to learn early to submit to that, because I wasn't always right. Sometimes I get so upset and all that, and I'll blame my wife for one thing or the other. I learned to keep quiet. One philosophy that helped me is be quick to hear. That means, first of all, I want to understand what she's saying. I'm able to still man her position. That means she says something, I can repeat it to her. This is what you said. That way, I'm not responding to something that she does not say. And it became a habit so much that I think it also annoyed my wife sometimes when I say, okay, what did I say? And then she's like, please, I don't want to go back because I know she has forgotten what we said. So you have to sometimes understand the other person has their own strengths and weaknesses. I have my own strengths and I have my own weaknesses. So where I am failing, it's okay for her to carry it through. Where she's failing, it's okay for me to carry it through. So I've learned to trust in the instincts of following God first, even when my flesh does not allow it. Sometimes it's not I feel like I have to say something and do something, but when being quick to hear is the first thing, but then be slow to speak. I wasn't always slow to speak. You want to say something immediately, you want to show that you are the man. And then that escalates to something that is not right. So we had our quarrels. The first 1 month of our relationship was quarrel every single day. It was as if, in fact, she even told me that I scammed her or something like that. That, oh, look, that I lied to her. She didn't know this was the kind of person I was. Then after a month, we sat down and talked and said, look, we're not going anywhere. At least both of us had one philosophy. There's no divorce. We're not going, there's no separation. That talk is not even, we don't even entertain it. So we said, look, it seems we're going to be miserable for the next 50, 60 years or whatever it is, that we can continue in that trajectory and be miserable with ourselves, or we can choose to have fun and enjoy the relationship. And we chose the latter. And thank God for that, because we're also very close. One is, you don't listen to the naysayers. People tell you you're always with your wife. Okay. When you have your own, don't be with her. Enjoy it the way you want to. But you see, my own is my own. There's a reason why it's my marriage and not your own. And the reason why I'm the husband and she's my wife and you're not any of those things. When you get your own time and, do it the way you want to do. I don't care what people tell me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Their advice, as long as it's not something that is clashing with the truth, that means I was very good at listening to advice. But I don't take every advice as good. That's one thing you have to be careful about, because you can listen to people that will appeal to your ego. You're the man now. How can she do that to you? But wait a minute, that guy that's giving you the advice is not sleeping on the same bed with that woman. So they're giving you advice based on their own perception. And only for me to find out later that some people giving you advice are already on the verge of divorce for their own marriages. So why you listen to everybody? Go back to the standard, the word. We'll all make mistakes. I agree you're going to make mistakes. And some of them will be terrible mistakes. But marriage is about two people who learn how to forgive each other. Why? Because they understand grace. When you understand that God, in spite of all, he demonstrated his love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That means that when you're going to give that same grace, don't be like the wicked servant that they forgive 10,000 talents and refuse to forgive 100 denarii of his own servant. If God has given us so much, you should be able to extend grace to your partner. And trust me, there's no sin that you have committed, that they've committed against you, that is as bad as what you have done towards God. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to be cautious about maybe like serious abuse and all that, but be careful that you don't take every single element of what they say. Oh, he said it to me. How dare he say it? And you now escalate the situation that is somebody sitting at the side and wondering, if you have come to my home, that one is small, it's child's play. You know how it is now. When some people say, my parents, they're terrible, they're this and that. And then when we sit down, we say, man, my own flogged me well. My own dealt with me very well. When you start comparing us, you realize, wait a minute. I think I have it good in my own home. I should be more appreciative of what I have. So everything looks good from the other side. Look at it from your own perspective. Look at it as your own lived experiences. Whatever you can tolerate is what you can tolerate. Don't let another person tell you how you can tolerate what you should tolerate. So I've made some mistakes. Many of them I can't remember. And she has made some mistakes. I can't even remember them. Why? Because so many times we quarrel about things that you want them to change so much. But after some years, you'll now be wondering, what was that thing I was quarreling about? I can't even remember what it is. That means it wasn't that important. Because if it was that important, it will carry through even after if the person has refused to change those attitudes. But there's some attitudes now that define my wife that I used to not like. And when I decided to let it go, it became the very things that defined her so much that I don't even want her to change anymore from those things. So Maturity comes with age. It comes with experience, understanding that the two of you came with baggages, single baggages. And when you're trying to squeeze two people with a lot of baggage into a particular smaller space to make them one, you have to lose some weight. And that weight is necessary to help the union to thrive.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you very much. Now our time is fast spent, but there are still a lot of things I really want us to talk about on the show today. But so before we begin to round up, because we are almost time is almost good, I would like for you to touch on communication, because the response you just gave, it shows the importance of communication, because it's part of communication that brings the growth. It's when you communicate that you see the grace, that you should be able to give to each other. So could you please tell us a little bit more about the role of communication in all this?
Yeah, communication is a central point of a relationship. Without communication, there's no relationship. They say, can two work together unless they are agreed? How can you agree when you didn't communicate what you agree on? There must be an agreement. There must be a communication of some sort for both of you to agree. So communication helps in terms of, okay, we have issues, how do we communicate it? And communication is something that has to deal with, it touches on so many nerves, because it deals with who you are as a person, what you're able to take, your responsibility, your temperament, and all of that. Because your wife can tell you something, but the way she delivers it is the way she feels. So you have to learn how to hear what she's saying without responding to how she said it. And that doesn't mean that how she said it is always right. It means that was not the right time to address the issue of how. It's the right time to first get the what that she said. So get the what first. The same thing with a husband to the wife. Listen to the what he said. Deal with it then. Later, during peace times, that thing you said, the way you said it, I didn't like it. Then you can address, okay, yeah, maybe I didn't address it properly. These are things that you have to learn over time. So communication is very key. How you communicate and what you communicate, and that you even communicate. Because if you don't communicate and there's silence in the home, it's already gone. Because there must be some form of silence. Don't be that woman that sends your husband to the corner of the rooftop than to be with you. Because you're no more communicating. He's now at the rooftop. Because he's running away from you. Because you are talking at him. You're not talking to him. You are talking over him and all that. That's something that you have to refrain from doing, because he's your partner. And then you have to respect him as the head of the home. Because anything you do, you have to do it to them as to the Lord. That's very key. Because many times, many people tell you, what if a man does not do this? Why should I? What you're saying is, my behavior is always predicated on their actions. That means you don't have a standard for yourself to be able to say, you know what, regardless of how people behave, I will still behave right. So if you're a monster because everybody is a monster, then you are never good. You are just reactionary. So communication with your spouse must be based on first understanding who you are, understanding what is good to do, what is a mature thing to say at every single time, because you are both of you can only grow in communication. Sometimes, and especially for women, they always almost expect a psychic response from men. How do you not know what I like? Yes, but you didn't say anything. How am I supposed? I'm supposed to imagine it. I'm not Daniel that had to first tell Nebuchadnezzar his dream before I interpret it. So that's how I look at communication. You have to express it.
All right. To our viewers at home and from all over the world, wherever you might be watching from, I'm sure by now you've also, just like me, you've learned a lot of things from today's episode. And for those of you, as a matter of fact, even for those where if you know anyone who is looking to make better choices, better decisions in their relationships or marriages through the year moving forward, or are even looking to get into marriage, I believe this is an episode that you really should share with them, because there's a lot of knowledge that has been shared here today that does not even come from the book. It comes from lived experiences. And obviously that's the best way that's the best kind of knowing, you see. So Mr. Oboli, to bring it back to you, for us to round up, because our time has far, is far spent. What would be your last, your closing, statements for those that are watching us today, on today's episode?
I'll say submit to God, and let your lived experiences reflect His glory in every way, and understand that you didn't ordain this marriage. Marriage was ordained by Him, so you have to go back to the one who ordained it to find out how to define it properly. Because when definitions are very good, when you understand the definition, then you're able to follow through, so that you're not following marriage just for the sake of, okay, everybody's getting married, so I need to get into marriage, or questioning it simply based on your own idea and all. So understand marriage for what it is, and then start living it. Go into it with an attitude of, this is good for me. It's not something that's against me. It's not there to tear me down. It's not there to destroy me. And it's funny because many people who actually think like that still want to get married somehow, and they're still contemplating. The reason you're contemplating is because it's been there. It's hardwired into us as humans. That's what God put in us. So the desire already proves that it is not something that is just happening, or it's just a thing on its own. It means that you already desire those things. So why not just do it right? Enjoy it. Learn to live with somebody else and do it in such a way that glorifies God. But more importantly, to understand that the value it gives is for you and for your benefit as well.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. As a matter of fact, because obviously I'm the only one here on the screen, but in the back end there's a whole there's a whole team. My village people are in the back end. People are also watching with us and have been putting things in order, and I can see it, one of them putting out the comment. And so I want to join my voice with us to say a really, really big thank you to you, sir, for coming on our show today and sharing this whole, I think literally every single sentence has been a nugget. It's a word on marbles that that I believe everyone should know. And on that, we really appreciate you. And to our viewers, this is where we will draw the curtains for today's episode. I am sure that you are as filled as I am, and you are as blessed as I am for today's episode. So as we go into the year, whatever your goals are, whatever you're looking to become, remember that you cannot do it alone. There's a role partnership has to play, and that is the kind of partnership in marriage. So whether you're looking to be better in your marriage, or you are aspiring to become a marriage, it's the single Pringles like me, whatever category you fall in. Now this is something you should know about and take with you through your journey. All right, and that will be the end of our episode for today. Mr. Oboli, thank you once again, and till next time. So next week it will be a collective episode. I'm not certain, but you will please look out for the flyer. We will definitely share it on all our medias. So on that note, till next time, thank you so much for being here, our viewers. All right, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oboli.